The 13th of June, 58 BCE, from Cicero to Quintus. Marcus greets his brother Quintus. My brother, my brother, my brother, did you really fear that out of some fit of rage I sent the boys to you without a letter? Or even that I did not want to see you? Would I be angry at you? Could I be angry at you? Of course, for it was you who brought me down, your enemies, your unpopularity, and not I, who have miserably destroyed you. That much praised consulship of mine has stolen you, my children, my country, and my fortune from me. I hope the only thing it has stolen from you is myself, but really, you have always brought me nothing but honor and joy, while I have brought you grief from my downfall, fear for your own longing, mourning, loneliness. Would I not have wanted to see you? No. In truth, I did not want to be seen by you. For you would not have seen your brother, not the man you left, not the man you knew, not the man who saw you off when we parted ways, both of us in tears, not even a trace of him, not a shade, but only the likeness of someone dead, but still breathing. I even wish you had seen me dead, or heard about it before this. I wish I could have left you to outlive me. My life over, but my dignity intact. But I call all the gods to witness that the one argument that called me back from death was that everyone was telling me that some part of your life depended on mine. Yet, I was wrong about this, and I acted terribly. For if I had died, my death would have easily demonstrated how dutifully I love you. Instead, it is my fault that I am alive while you are without me. I am alive while you rely on others, and my voice, which has often defended complete strangers, has died now when my own family is in danger. So, as for the boys coming to you without a letter, you see now that it was not out of anger. Really, it was out of exhaustion and the seemingly infinite flood of tears and sorrow. How much do you think I've cried while writing these very words? I am certain that it is just as much as you have while reading them. Is it possible for me to not think of you at all, or to ever think of you without tears? When I miss you, is it only a brother I miss? I miss you as a charming brother of almost equal age, as a respectful son, and as a prudent parent. What joy did I ever have without you, or you without me? What to do when at the same time I miss my daughter, so dutiful, so modest, so clever, just like me in appearance, speech, and soul? What about my loveliest, sweetest son? I was inhuman and hard-hearted when I had to push him from my arms, wiser at his age than I would have wished for. The poor boy had already begun to understand what was happening. And then what about your son, your mirror image, whom my little Cicero did love it as a brother and respected as an older brother? What about how I did not allow my truly miserable wife, my most loyal partner, to follow me so that there would be someone to protect what remains of the disaster we share, the children we share? But still, I wrote to you as well as I could and gave you the letter from your freedman Philagonus. I trust that it was delivered to you. It contains the messages the boys gave to you verbally, that I ask and urge you to head straight to Roma and to hurry. First of all, I wanted you as a defense in case of my enemy's cruelty is not yet sated by the disaster we face. Secondly, I was very scared of the lamenting our meeting would have caused. Nor in truth could I have borne parting, and I even fear exactly what you wrote in your letter, that it might be impossible to drag you away from me. For these reasons, the deep hurting of not seeing you, which seems the most bitter and miserable thing that could happen to brothers as loving and closely bound as us two, was less bitter and miserable than it would have been if we met and then parted. Now, if you can do what I, whom you always considered a brave man, cannot, pull yourself together and stand strong in whatever struggle you must face. I hope, if my hope has any weight, that your integrity and the people's affection for you, and even some pity for my situation, will defend you. But if you are free from that sort of danger, of course, do whatever you think can be done for me. Indeed, people write a great deal to me about this and allege that they have reason to hope. But, for my part, I cannot tell why I should have any hope when my enemies are at their strongest. And one group of my friends has abandoned me, while another group has even betrayed me. Perhaps they fear being criticized for their crime if I were to return. But please, find out what the situation is in Roma and let me know. For my part, for as long as you need me, it seems like you will face any danger. I shall stay alive. I cannot stay in this life any longer, for no wisdom nor philosophy is strong enough to help me endure such pain. I know there was a more honorable and advantageous time to die, But I let this and many other chances pass me by. If I want to complain about these mischances, I would achieve nothing but increasing your grief and putting out my own stupidity. Indeed, what I must do, what cannot be done, is linger in such a miserable and shameful life any longer than your time of crisis or well-grounded hope demand. I used to be perfectly happy, blessed with a brother, children, partner, wealth, even the source of that money. I was the equal of any distinguished man in rank, authority, reputation, and influence. I am now in such a shattered and ruined state that I cannot mourn myself and my family any longer. So why did you write to me about a bill of exchange? As though your resources are not in fact already sustaining me. And it is that exact matter in which I see and understand what a crime I have committed, since you are about to pay the debts you owe with your own flesh, as well as your son's, while I uselessly squander the money I received from the treasury in your name. But still, Marcos Antonius has been paid the amount you specified in your letter, and Capio has been paid the same amount. For myself, what I have now is enough for what I intend. Whether I am restored or given up on, I do not need any more. If you have any trouble, my view is that you should go to Crassus or Calidius. I don't know how much Hortensius can be trusted. He put on a great show of affection and took great care to talk to me daily, and he treated me most criminally and most treacherously, as did Quintus Arius. It was through their advice, promises, and direction that I was abandoned and fell into this disaster. But keep this a secret so that it doesn't hurt you. Beware also, and for this reason I think that though Pomponius, you should appease Hortensius himself, that the poem about Aurelian law that was attributed to you when you were campaigning for the idealship is not confirmed as through false testimony. What I fear most of all is that when people realize how much your entreaties and narrow escape will create pity for me, they will attack you even more violently. I think that Massalia is devoted to you. I think that Pompey is still only pretending, but I hope you don't have to test this. I would pray to the gods if they hadn't stopped listening to my prayers. But still, I pray that they will be content with the infinite evils we face, including that not only are we entirely guiltless of any mistake, but the whole cause of our sorrow is that we have paid the ultimate price for the most noble of actions. Why should I commend my and your daughter and our little Cicero to your care, my brother? In fact, I grieve that their orphanhood will bring you to as much pain as it brings me. But they will not be orphans as long as you are safe. My tears will not let me write the rest, that I might be granted some safety and the power to die in my own country. Please protect Terentia and write to me about everything that happens. Be as brave as the facts of the situation allow. Addendum 1. When Quintus left to govern his province. Addendum 2. Cicero worried that Claudius would seek further vengeance by prosecuting Quintus for alleged mismanagement of his province. Cicero was famous for his court oratory, but in exile would be unable to defend his own brother in court. Addendum 3. Cicero's son was 6 years old. Addendum 4. Cicero is once again thinking of Hortensius. Addendum 5. Footnote borrowed from Shackleton Bailey. Cicero's wealth came mainly from his patrimony and from the legacies of clients and friends, and not from confiscation of estates bought cheap, much like that of Crassus, or the spoils of his office. Addendum 6. Shackleton Bailey's Omnosticon to Cicero's letters identifies this Marcus Antonius as the Mark Antony. I have no idea why Quintus owed him money. Addendum 7. Caepio is almost certainly Brutus, who is legally called Quintus Aurelius Caepio Brutus after being adopted by a relative. Quintus owing Brutus money makes sense, since basically everybody owed Brutus money. Addendum 8. Footnote borrowed by Shackleton Bailey. The triumvir was an experienced advocate, but it is surprising that Quintus should be told to seek his services in view of the distrust expressed in a letter, fam.7xiv.2.2, the juncture which Calidius shows that a prosecution is in mind, not a financial difficulty. Addendum 9. In 66 BCE. Addendum 10. And another Shackleton Bailey footnote. The one-line epigram ascribed to Quintus attacked the Aurelian law, and therefore probably explicitly its backers, Pompey and Crassus. Cicero was afraid that Hortensius, an opponent of the law and therefore likely to be believed on such a point, might confirm the report of Quintus's authorship, thus making mischief with the two dynasts. Addendum 11. It's not like their mother was still alive or anything. Personal footnote. It's really interesting to see how Cicero talks to Quintus, his brother, as opposed to the very flowery language from when he first started his exile, when he wrote letters to Atticus, and then his slightly more political-minded letters that he wrote to his wife Terentia. And now I think he's so far into his exile and talking to someone who can really help him right now, Quintus, his brother, and he is in like full politics mode. He's talking about like who to befriend, who to distrust. He's even kind of going back on what he said last time to Atticus about Hortensius, so he's like even not lying a little bit to his friend, but like he's playing the political game, right? He's sending thank yous to people he probably doesn't actually think he needs to thank. And he's sending Quintus away with some knowledge and tools at his disposal to argue for his own safety, the safety of Cicero's family, and of course Cicero himself. Very fun, very interesting, very confusing, very dizzying. The Shackleton Bailey addendums, as you could probably tell by my reading of them, were very confusing and were like steeped in politics that I don't really understand and isn't my personal primary interest in Roman history and culture. But are certainly interesting nonetheless, right? I'm hoping a lot of this politics is expanded upon further, and we get a little bit more of a sense of like what he was doing and why he was doing it, and like why he really got exiled in the first place. I could go back and read letters, but these letters are just the letters that Cicero wrote in exile, and I'm already having trouble keeping up with these, so I'll think about other letters, some other time, right? But overall, a really fun one. I don't know, I think it's really interesting how he talks to his brother, how he still uses that flowery language, but not nearly as hard. Really, the first paragraph, my brother, my brother, my brother, is brutal. And the second paragraph ending with not even a trace of him, not a shade, but only the likeness of someone dead but still breathing, it's one of those things you're surprised didn't make it to like a Shakespeare play. You know what I mean? Like, what an absurdly powerful beat. Only to then follow it up with like a grocery list of political people to go like persuade and deceive, He's playing the game right now, and it's really interesting to see where his mind is, because he's not just like a great orator, he's also like, he's experienced, and it's a little bit scary to like see someone who's got that like Machiavellian twist to him. When he turns it on, like totally different character, it feels like. Just another nuance of Cicero. I don't know, he's a really interesting guy. I think it's no surprise that people are really interested in his letters, and that Tate themselves decided to like do this whole project, because even just in these first like couple of letters, it's a very like extremely good example of like what Romans really valued, the law and virtus, and how they went about that during the time of the early empire. It's interesting how they see family, how that family unit is connected to their virtus, and what lengths they're willing to go to get it. Not only just his talk of suicide, but his talk of staying alive after the point where suicide would have been preferable, because now he has more honor to like uphold, essentially. His constant mentioning of the gods as well is a refreshing, from reading from a Christian society, is refreshing to see as well, because it shows how important their faith was to them and their cultural upbringing in who they were as a person, their personal identity, and how they, and their motivations for moving forward, right? I don't know, I'm basically rambling at this point. It's just such a good letter. It's such a long letter with so much to digest. I'm probably gonna be sitting on this one for a while, especially before I get another free day to record the next letter. Especially because this next letter is to Atticus. I'm curious if from the 29th of May to the 13th of June, if anything's changed, if he's going to be a bit more politically minded and a bit more Machiavellian about it. I'm pretty excited, genuinely. So yeah, I mean, enough talking, right? I'll see you guys then. Valete, omnes.